Hey there, it's your host, Eric, from the Machine of Nonsense. Before we get to the bracket of nonsense, I just wanted to let everyone know this will be a spoiler-heavy discussion. We can't really describe these characters in full without, kind of really going into spoiler territory, given big plot points of the various games, movies, and TV shows that they are a part of. So if you're afraid of spoilers, I would just recommend maybe skipping forward when a particular character is being talked about, just in case, if you really care about that character and you really care about spoilers. So, just wanted to warn you guys, and on to the episode. Hey there, it's the Machine of Nonsense, episode 40, the big 4-0, we've made it. And it's not just episode 40, it is the last episode of round 1 of the bracket of nonsense. We're doing the Rust Cohle bracket. I'm your host, Eric, joined as always by Kayla.
Hey.
And we got Ryan.
Hey, hello.
Tomas.
How's it going?
And Mike.
My vote is for Rust.
Oh, jeez.
Mike is coming out swinging. Oh, boy.
Banging on him.
So this is the Rust Cohle bracket. We have 8 matchups today. We're starting off strong with Rust Cohle versus Kirby, everyone's favorite. So Rust Cohle from True Detective Season 1 and Kirby from the Dreamland, of Dreamland fame.
Oh, yeah.
So, Rust Cohle was a double up. Mike already has said that he's picking Rust Cohle. I also picked Rust Cohle in the initial draft of the bracket. What can I say? This was knee-deep in the reconnaissance. Matthew McConaughey does a tour de force performance as this burnt-out detective. It's set in multiple different time periods, so you get to see him as something of a bright-eyed younger man earlier in his life, and you also get to see him as just a complete burnout later on, dealing with all the demons of a case that has lasted for something like 20 years. And if you haven't seen True Detective Season 1, just go. I mean, the back and forth between Rust and his partner, played by Woody Harrelson. Gosh, I almost forgot Woody's name. It's just wonderful. It's just so good back and forth, and Woody could have easily been on this as well, but Russ just left a piece of himself in my heart. What did you have to say for him, Mike?
No, you said it very well. Rust, he just gives off this haunted performance, but also part like philosophizer.
Yeah.
He's
some of those lines hit deep, man.
Yeah, and he just the way he goes about this case and winds up spoiler alert solving it. It's just a hell of a ride. I left True Detective thinking, man, Rust is one of the best characters I've ever seen on movies, TV, anything. Love him.
So we're not going to let Tomas stick up for Kirby. Who wants to stick up for Kirby? No, Tomas, this was your pick, Kirby. What can you say for our pink man? Or pink, is he a man? I don't know.
He's a thing. I feel like a lot of these early matchups were just thinking they're doomed for failure, but well, I came in saying that like I had an argument for Kirby. My only argument is that Kirby can technically just eat Rust Cohle and then become him. So
Can just be Rust Cohle. Yeah.
Man, that'd be a depressing Kirby. Oh, Kirby with a 6-pack
Yeah, it'd be
and a ponytail.
super sexy flexy Kirby.
I like it.
I think there's a meme like that. Like, what superpower would Kirby get if he absorbed you and someone just put depression? Like, if he grabbed Rust Cohle.
Kirby's just a fun character. He's lighthearted. He's destroyer of worlds, yet he's like the cutest thing on the planet. And I don't know, man. It's just he's for something so simple, like it's literally like a few circles put together with a pink backdrop.
Blush.
Yeah, he's adorable. He's just a very happy character. I've been playing Kirby since I was like a little kid. Like immediately just drawn to the simplicity of the character and just the idea that like it's I don't know, man. It's cute. I like cute shit. Like the fact that like he's stuck around. He's pretty much the main character of the Smash Brothers series. And but it's like I said, these matchups are kind of like doo doo. So, I love Kirby, but I knew this was gonna be a race.
This time has come.
Yeah.
Oh
mean,
boy.
It's a favorite character bracket. So all of mine
Yeah.
come from the heart. Some of them are nostalgic. Some of them are nonsensical.
Oh yeah. Like I still go back and I play Kirby Superstar at least like once a year. So he's just one of my favorite characters.
He's a good pick in Super Smash Brothers, right? Not that I ever played, but
I mean, I enjoy using him. I wouldn't
Got a
say
little-
it's like top
little
tier, but
back on there. Right.
He's the only one who survived Kazuya in the new trailer. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I forgot Kazuya was in there.
They both took on kings, King Day, and the King in Yellow. So
There you go.
I think there's a lot of. I think these are closer characters than I think we make it sound.
Identical.
For-
Votes for Kirby. You're right.
Twins.
For Rust Cohle, just one quick little thing that I want to say about him is it is Matthew McConaughey's best
Yeah.
performance. It's like still so McConaughey, like his mannerisms, the way he looks at you all weird is just deeply, deeply McConaughey, but is very interesting and intriguing. And like he does have these philosophical lines that are just like, damn, he's right. And they're fucking sad. They're terrible, terrible, realistic things about the world that are just like, damn.
He's very nihilistic. He's got a certain viewpoint of the world, and he's right.
Go watch it.
I've used time as a flat circle like 40 times in 40 episodes of this pod, so you know where my vote is. So I think we're going Rust. Yes.
I mean, I just gotta vote for Kirby by proxy, but yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Destroyer of worlds, he may be, but he'll always be forever in our hearts. He's not. I don't
Absolutely.
think he'll. His rest.
Oh, Kirby, you got a bad draw, my friend. So
Okay.
Rust Cohle
Kinda like
over
everybody else.
Kirby. tough draw.
Here's a
All
fun
right. It was. The next one is super fun because we have the alien killer Ripley versus the literal alien
Yes.
Urdnot Wrex. So Ellen Ripley from the Aliens, Prometheus, etc. universe, and Urdnot Wrex from the Mass Effect universe. Gosh, was Ellen mine? Ellen was mine, wasn't
Yeah,
she?
I think that's you. That's like your
man.
favorite movie that you watched when you were like 5 years old or something.
I love Aliens. I shouldn't have watched it as a kid. It's the reason I am who I am. But so Ellen may be the most badass woman who's ever lived. She came from kind of nothing. She was I think it's the term is like a warrant officer on a basically like a cargo ship, and just so happened to have the bad luck of running into an alien being, the xenomorphs, and is the lone survivor from her crew because she uses her smarts and her just out and out bravery to survive at all costs, and then decides to go back out into space because she wants to protect other people from. She's now the alien expert, and she wants to get back out there and help others because she's been really traumatized by the event and wants to do what she can. Of course, tragedy strikes again, and she's thrown into an even worse situation, even more aliens, and just out of sheer will, she teaches herself how to use a gun. She just becomes the ultimate alien killer and takes down most of the threat. And continues to do so in the movies that aren't as good, 3 and 4. But she's already made her legacy at that point, and if you're willing to go as far as Alien 4, she gets resurrected as a human alien hybrid and has like super strength and stuff. Ellen Ripley's she's just a badass in every way, shape, and form.
It goes a little off the rails after Aliens, but
the movies aren't great.
That,
the world is really cool.
True that.
I got a soft spot for Alien 3 in my heart as well. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah, same.
Urdnot was Mike and Aaron, right?
Yep. Wrex is one of the first crew members you meet in Mass Effect. He is a Krogan, which are like they're similar to the Xenomorphs. They're kind of just bred for war and for combat. And Wrex is he sees that is a way it's just destroying his whole race, and that they need to kind of change how they are. And he eventually, with the help of Commander Shepard, becomes like the leader of the Krogans, and eventually tries to stop their annihilation in multiple ways, because there's a disease that has been spread throughout the Krogan species called the genophage, which has basically stopped them from being able to reproduce. I think it's like 1 in 10,000 births are successful or something like that. And sorry, I lost my train of thought. Wrex is extremely. He's like the type of crew member that is like the loyal, brooding badass, and you want to. I love when in a game where you want to gain that crew member's respect, and you want him to be by your side, and when you get that from Wrex, you peel back these layers. It's just really rewarding, and he sticks with you throughout the whole trilogy. Not always as playable character, but he's always around, and he's just great.
I can totally relate to what you said, Mike, with the you want him on your good side, you want to put in an effort to make him respect you, and it's Wrex rolled with me all through my space journey.
Yeah.
So he was my mainstay. And they gave you some hard decisions to make too with him, just the idea that sometimes there's a point where you're holding him up by gunpoint to calm him down. I think it was about how they're whatever I forget what they are, the big bads or something, were making some kind of cure for the disease, and he was like, well, shit, that could save my people. And then as Shep, you gotta take the high road, but you still don't want to knock your boy down. And I was like, what do I do? I don't want to shoot my boy.
Right, you can lose him in that moment.
Yeah.
It's tough. Yeah.
That's what I was just gonna ask. Can he die in that scene?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Wrex
Okay.
is-
Good.
Yeah.
I made the right choice.
Yeah.
Same here. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed his character. I like both of these characters. The thing that's like really like leaning me more towards Wrex is like Alien 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 was woof. So, but
Yeah, Wrex was always my favorite because you go back to your ship in between missions or whatever, and you can have conversations with your crewmates. And Wrex was always the one, and at least in Mass Effect 1, where I wanted to go talk to him and see what he had to say, see if he agreed with my decisions. He was like a compass for me in that game. I never wanted to upset Wrex.
Absolutely, he was the true shepherd in that game.
Yeah, and he's just a tank in combat and just like an unstoppable force.
Yeah, my boy.
He's certainly a badass, and
I just feel like we did not have that much interaction with Wrex.
You guys played the game wrong.
Mm.
Yeah, I guess we didn't. I mean,
yeah, I tried to be very, while we were at least 1 and 2 so far, tried to be very like equal with who I bring out on missions and stuff like that. So that might, be a part of it. And I was gonna say that as far as any character from Mass Effect, it's such a decision-based game. Like you said, you could just murder him fairly early on in the epic, and then that's the end of Wrex. I don't know.
Yeah. I like that the game gives you those options too, though. It's like
That's what makes it good, right? Those choices you make reflective
choices
in the
that
game.
like, yeah.
Right.
I mean, they don't necessarily like affect the story like terribly too much from like the main thing, but like it definitely affects your gameplay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think the Krogan are such a cool like race. Just their whole backstory, like Mike mentioned, with the genophage, the disease where they can't reproduce, and just the fact that like they're so stuck. Yeah, they're stuck in their ways. They just have like this culture of war and tribalism and everything else, and the fact that anyone has the will to stand up to that, such as Urdnot Wrex, is a big deal.
Breaking a cycle, bro.
But Ellen breaks a cycle of patriarchy. So there you go.
Ooh.
All the dudes, they said, no, Ellen, we know better. We know how to take on these aliens. And she said, no, I do.
Is that verbatim?
Yeah. I've seen the movie a lot, so I know it by heart. Yeah.
The scene in Aliens, the elevator scene before the finale, the great fight at the end, where it's like she can't be the same Ripley she's been this whole time, and she's just got to become a badass, basically.
Fucking badass motherfucker.
Ride, and it's such a great scene. After watching that, I was like, yeah, Ellen's she's great, and just a blueprint for female characters to come afterwards. Whether it's things from Metroid or your Lara Crofts or whatever.
Yeah, especially in action, particularly, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there was great female roles, but not so much in the action aspect. That was kind of like, sort of a bubble in that time frame in the 80s, right? We know that was, 80s, right? So,
Super.
Yeah, no, Ellen
guns.
was always such a fucking badass as a kid. I loved seeing her going against the fucking alien queen every time. I'd never, ever, turn away from that scene whenever I watched it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, you mentioned like the elevator scene and everything else. My favorite scenes in any action movie is always the load up scene. Like the hero is gonna load up. They're gonna go to the locker and grab all the guns, and that's exactly what she does. She does the cool ass thing where she uses just like black electrical tape, tapes up the guns together. She's got the flamethrower, she's got the assault rifle, the pulse rifle. Sorry, for all you alien heads out there. And just it's so cool. She's got like she straps some bombs on her and everything else. It's just like, man, that's as cool as any Arnold Schwarzenegger thing ever.
Oh god, yeah.
Awesome badass.
And she's got good heart too. Like,
Mm.
man, she got to take care of that kitten. She got to take care of that
Sure.
little kid. Like, she truly is like just a good human who has to make. I wouldn't necessarily call them tough decisions, but she just cuts to it and makes those decisions. Like, she just knows.
There's like a whole backstory that was kind of cut, or at least a scene that was cut in Aliens, where she actually like finds out about her daughter, because like she was in cryo sleep for a long time. Her daughter died of old age because she was, her Ellen was just asleep for such a long time, and they don't really delve into it too much, but like you have to assume that that's the case. She just like everyone she's ever known has died because she's told that like, oh yeah, you've been asleep for 100 years or whatever else. So just on that, she's got a tragic backstory, regardless of all the actual shit that happens.
Yeah.
Oh, Rex's story is
on
pretty
pushing.
good too. It's just to see his whole race like just
Damn.
slaughter each other and just used by they were pretty much a weapon
Yeah.
that the galaxy used, and then once that weapon became too much is when
We
you
have
know,
no
they
more
had to
use for you.
implant a disease into them. Both characters have great armor, by the way. Got the power loader. Got Rex's cool ass armor, his tribe armor.
Yeah.
Man, that's a good call. I love Rex's armor, and I mean the power loader is one of the coolest things ever.
It is. It is.
Yeah. That's such a great scene.
Wow, guys, this is tough. This is a tough one.
Tough decision.
It's a
Yeah.
good one.
Who's going
I'm gonna
Not my favorite.
I'm gonna stick with Ripley just because that's who I brought to the dance. You got to stick with who you bring to the dance.
Absolutely.
Sexy
leave
Rexy
much bowl.
for me.
Sexy Rexy.
But it's close. It's very close. Ripley's
Yeah, wow.
great.
Well, you guys
Ripley.
got me all in my jumblies. I was leaning towards one direction, but who? I'm gonna go with Rex.
Ooh, Ryan.
Ryan gets to be the deciding vote.
I'm sorry. I think Ripley has to kill another alien for this one.
Ooh.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, big
like
fan of Ripley. It's a very hard call though. Rex is a fantastic character.
I don't feel any love lost on this one. I feel like this was this is probably like the closest matched one we've had.
I think if Aaron and Josh were here, it might be going a different way. But
Oh, I
Here
think
we
you're
are.
right. I think you might be right. Yeah. That
One
sets up.
last Shepherd.
Ripley's
From
right
Rex.
here.
That sets up quite the matchup in round 2. So Ripley
Doesn't-
over Rex in round 1. That's fun.
Yay.
On to the next. Two interesting characters here. We have Jules Winfield from Pulp Fiction, and we have Mare Sheehan from Mare of Easton. Let's see. Jules was a compensatory pick, right? He was an after the original pick.
The lightning
Yes,
round
didn't
pick.
make anyone's original list.
That's true.
Yeah, that's a strike on him, I suppose.
Look, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of characters, and a lot of different like media forms. They probably just slipped their minds. Pulp Fiction's one of my favorite movies, and I love Jules.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, we all made our lists. We did. You had to make choices. Doesn't mean you didn't want him on the list.
Yeah.
Depends on who they go against if they go further.
whose choice was Mayor of Easttown?
It was mine.
It's yours, okay.
So who's stepping up the bat for Jules?
Yeah, I'll give a little bit for Jules. I mean, he's such an iconic character. Even if you've never seen Pulp Fiction or are not a fan of Quentin Tarantino's work, you kind of know. You're like, maybe you don't know his name is Jules, but you know that fucking Samuel L. Jackson
That's the
is
dude.
a badass motherfucker. Like,
He's
just
got a wallet that says it.
Right, yeah. You kind of know all the scenes that he's in are the scenes in that movie that the casual viewer, the casual like non-fan kind of know. And
You
I
see him in
think
a meme, kids. He's been in plenty of memes.
right, exactly. He's just got such an iconic look. It's pretty simple, but like, short afro, suit, gun, boom. That's all you need, and
He's
just
also
pure.
the foot fucking master.
But would you give me a foot rub? So, I mean, Jules is just a badass. He's the epitome of like a badass, someone you don't want to mess with, someone with the right line for every occasion, and then also has that fun little ditty that he sings before he kills you. So, Jules, the ultimate badass.
He's trying real hard to be the shepherd.
Shepherd.
I'm just gonna walk the earth, man. It's like, yeah, they got a name for that, Jules. It's called the bum.
But Mare Sheehan, played by Kate Winslet from Mare of Easttown, is a police officer in a small town in Philadelphia, and she's kind of like early on in the show they introduce you to all these other, she goes and checks on these little piddly kind of calls that people call her on, and she basically knows every single person in this town. She's the law.
She grew up in this town. She's from it.
Oh yeah. She's like a sports hero from high school. Their only state championship she won on her shot. Basically, they call her Lady Hawk, and then she gets on this case similar to Rust's case, but in where it could have gone on and on and on for decades unsolved. But Mare fucking solves it, man. She gets on it real fucking fast. But then you also find out that she's dealing with a son who committed suicide and had terrible drug problems, and that basically helps her be the cop that she is. She's running from this grief and from talking or even, dealing with any of this stuff. And she just focuses on work and basically alienates her family and everyone around her. And she becomes like this tough as nails fucking cop. And eventually she, has to deal with these things and finds a balance between the two. And it's really a great arc. It's basically a one and done kind of show. I don't think they're ever going to do a Mare season 2 or anything like that. And it's a great performance by Kate Winslet. And yeah, she's better than Jules.
Oh shit.
Said it.
It's a tough one, but there are a couple things I want to also say about Mare.
Hey, Kayla.
Everybody in that town fucking sucks.
It's
They're all terrible, terrible people. And like Mike said, like, she's the law. Like, even though she grew up with these people, she probably changed their diapers. She's got to go and deal with their heroin problem. And like, she does it with heart, but also tough as nails. It's frustrating to watch because I'm just like, fuck that dude. That dude sucks. But she knows, like, well, he's dealing with this. Like, he's just a mad dad or whatever she says. So she's just like, yeah, she's the stone, hard as nails, law, this is right person when everybody just is terrible. They're so terrible. And it's nice, like Mike said, she has to deal with these things. Like, she goes to therapy and they show you her dealing with therapy and accepting therapy, and it's really nice to see her make that walkway, that journey, that challenge.
Nice.
Yeah.
That sounds very interesting. Like, it's in Philadelphia, correct?
Sounds like
Oh, you gotta see it. If you haven't seen the
Yeah.
show, you gotta see it. It's so good.
Well, it's on the list now. Also, my girlfriend loves Kate Winslet, so.
She's
But
fantastic actor,
Oh,
yes.
yeah,
she's great.
but it's like, yeah, Philadelphia. Like, okay, so like, I'm in Florida, recovery capital of the world, and like 90% of the people in my area are from Philadelphia because they all come down here
Right.
to fucking
They got
get away
problems
from
in
it.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, got some fucking problems up there, man. It is a dope den, like, to the max.
Kayla said that like everyone in the town sucks, and I think one of the coolest things about Mare is that she sucks. Like, she is so unglamorous. Like, if you're used to Kate Winslet, like really awesome actress, like just really
A lot of period dramas.
Yeah, exactly. Always glamorous, always beautiful, and everything else. And Mare's not hard on the eyes, but she is not trying at all. I mean, she is just like
Dresses up. She cleans up nice.
She's like Rust Cohle in the way that like Rust Cohle doesn't give a shit about what anyone thinks of him or anything else. Mare is the exact like same person, and being like a woman and a mother and everything else. I think she's a real unique character in that sense, like where she's just completely unglamorous, kind of like just dirty, angry, worn out, but like just kind of knows who she is, essentially knows where she comes from. And it's real cool in all the ways that like Jules is. Man, I gotta put on this like badass. Like, I'm gonna put on this suit and become this like badass. Mare's like, I'm just gonna throw on this hoodie and I know who I am. So it's pretty cool. It's a great character.
You guys are selling me a lot.
Yeah, I'm like, you guys are just. I'm kind of getting convinced now. Fuck.
Like, this is like what, only like a 7-episode show? It's
around that.
barely looks like. Well, I did a little like Wikipedia like on the side on my phone while you guys were breaking this down.
And like Mare's just one character out of the like pieces of shit that are in it, but the story, the mystery, the twisty turnies is real good.
Yeah, like I'm always down for that. Being in recovery myself, I can understand how like you guys describe her like perfectly as a person who has to deal with like us like on a daily basis. It is draining. It's like I can picture exactly what Eric was talking about. I'm like, yeah, it sounds about right. That, and it's Philadelphia, which is like a fucking dump.
So it's a cold, dark, just uncolorful and unwelcoming town.
Yeah, fuck off. The whole state of
But
Pennsylvania.
Guy Pearce comes
That's
in
what
there
we're
and
saying.
brings some beauty. I'm not gonna lie.
There's parts with trees.
I love Jules. He's one of Quentin's. He's probably Quentin's best character.
He's awesome.
But I feel like we got to see that character come back again almost in Hateful Eight. Like Sam Jackson is pretty much Jules again.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of detracts from the overall Jules experience.
Yeah.
And he dies off camera in Kill Bill, so there you go.
And it's hard too for Jules. Like, there's so many characters in Pulp Fiction. Like,
yes, that's what.
There's so many. It's so hard. It's like that's one of 5 really, really fun stories.
Yes.
All in one movie.
It's like that movie is just a tour de force. Like I can talk up just about like any of the characters in that movie. It's like Jules is definitely like a slight standout, but I love Bruce Willis's part.
Baby.
The small part about I hid this watch in my ass. But like I love that movie to death. And I love Jules like as a character. Like some of my favorite parts are, the ones that are in like that he's in, like when they got to get rid of the dead body and some real gourmet ass shit. like I bought my dad that cup. So this is hard, man. You guys made a real good pitch.
Very good argument, yeah.
Yeah.
for me, like, I'm gonna lead this train. Jules is just not my favorite in Pulp Fiction, so
Oh,
I'm
wow.
going with Mare.
Curiosity, who is your favorite character in Pulp Fiction?
It depends on my mood, but there
Oh, okay.
are mostly Bruce or
Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead.
or gun to my head, I would probably say John Travolta.
Oh, okay.
Those would be
Vincent
my two
Vega.
between. It's just they're just such fun moments with him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
him and the Mia Wallace parts. It's a good movie, man.
Him
But,
him in many parts are a lot of fun.
yeah.
The dead body that they got to get rid of.
Stab her 3 times like this.
Right.
Wow.
Oh. Okay.
Lance should have
The
been on
dancing.
the bracket. Damn it, we forgot. Got drug dealer Lance.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Mare.
All right.
Mare.
Yeah, let's just call it, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Mare too.
Yeah, that's. I think you guys made an excellent argument.
You guys
Too
gotta
good.
watch the show.
Too good of argument,
Oh,
actually.
I will. Yeah,
If you didn't have the argument, I probably wouldn't vote. I would vote for Jules.
Yep.
So,
my heart would have went for Jules, but
Kayla-
like also, it's a whole movie. It's an ensemble cast where it's like, it's like they all stand out in little bits, but like they're, it's like Kayla said, depending on like what your mood is, you may enjoy Travolta parts better, may enjoy the Bruce
That's like
parts
the
better.
thing that movie really does. It just has like so many different feels, so many different characters. It's just like, oh wait, yeah, these guys, right? Okay.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
see.
rewatchable. It's very rewatchable.
you convinced
Yeah.
me.
All right.
I'll be a shill for the Mare.
All right. Mare all around. I
Yeah.
mean, I got Jules on the
impressive.
list. That's fine. I'm cool. He deserved to be in the 64, but Mare's just fucking cool. She's just a unique ass character, and she's great. So
Sounds fun.
Mare over Jules. Mare Jordan should have been her name, not the Lady Hawk. I
Nice.
stand by that.
It's pretty good.
Saw it on Twitter. It's not mine. But it's still
Like,
good.
dang, you've been holding out on that.
No. Because she like won like the state champion in like 1997 or something.
Yeah.
Everyone would have
Made
been
like a really good shot.
yeah. Everyone would have called her Mare Jordan. Like, come on. But anyway, on to the next. Bending Rodriguez
Yes,
from
full name.
Futurama versus Mae Borowski from Night in the Woods. Bender was a Tomas pick. Mae was a Josh pick, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Mike, you've done Night in the Woods. Anyone else done Night in the Woods?
No.
Cool. Well, Tomas, tell us about Bender.
He's Bender, man. What else do you need to know? No. I don't know, man. It's like Futurama's got a lot of good characters in it. Like this was a hard one for me, so I felt like going for Fry as well. But Bender just kind of stands out in more episodes for me. Some of my favorite episodes are where Bender kind of takes the lead, especially like the what ifs, the one where he becomes a human and he completely engorges himself in like the matter of a week. They roll him and Eric escapes from his fat folds and he's like, woo! And then when he becomes a giant Bender, like there's just to me there's just so many standout episodes for Bender. Even like when they made the movies, the whole idea behind Bender's big score. He was able to use the time code on Fry's butt, which was a tattoo of his face, and to continuously fuck with the time stream. He's kind of an asshole. I mean, I'm not gonna take that away from him, but like he's a lovable scamp, I believe, as he refers to himself as a lovable scamp. And he's just, I don't know, man. I love Futurama. Like I said, it's like there's a handful of characters I could have went for with this, and I know that detracts from the argument of why he should be picked, but like it's, I just like to me, he stands out more than the rest of them in Futurama.
Yeah,
Love it. Love it. Mae.
Those are hard picks.
Oh yeah.
Mae is from the game Night in the Woods. She's like an 18, 19-year-old woman, but she's a cat. Everyone in this game is a different kind of animal, anthropomorphic animal. And she's did a few semesters in college, and it wasn't for her. It didn't work out, and she's forced to go back to her shitty little small town and live back with her parents. And she feels like her life's kind of like over and done with. Like she had a chance or whatever, and then it's done. And you go through the game, and it's just kind of day-to-day stuff. You're hanging out with your buddies. You play bass in a band with them.
Nice.
You go visit your mom. She works at the church. She has a great, fun relationship with her mom. She takes a lot of cool notes in this journal. She's got a great sense of humor. But you find out that she has like a dissociative disorder. And she had an incident in high school where she attacked someone with a bat and kind of forced her parents into debt and for her therapy kind of bills and stuff like that. And then she keeps having these weird dreams as the game goes on, and it turns out that there's like a Cthulhu type monster
Oh no.
that lives under the town and has kind of been the reason and caused these weird detachment type things where like the violent incident in high school, the incidents she has had at college and stuff like that. And I believe she kind of conquers that monster and is able to move on from that and grow.
Is that literal? Like, is there a literal monster, or is that meant to be like figurative?
It's unclear, I think.
Open to interpretation.
I lean towards literal, because the game kind of turns into, your whole gang of friends like trying to you find this like cultist group in the woods and eventually uncover this weird beast.
Okay.
Beast.
Did a little bit of a deep dive on Mae because I've never played the game, but just to get ready. And I really thought between your description of her and what I found on the internet, like in a match of two non-humans, she seems like a real like human character, real relatable character.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, it is kind of unfortunate that if there is a literal monster actually controlling her actions, as opposed to just, she's got a mental disorder or something like that she's dealing with, takes a little bit of the humanity out of it. But still, she definitely seems like a really cool character. I've always wanted to check out Night in the Woods and just haven't gotten around to it yet.
Oh no, I was just saying, if there's one thing that like this bracket has done, it's definitely made me more interested in like a lot of these characters. Yeah, and Eric, I think you kind of hit it on the head. She seems like a very like just person kind of character. Like the first thing I attached to is like you mentioned that like she tried going to college and it didn't work out for her. It's like I can relate to that because it didn't work out for me. So it's like
Same. Yeah.
Again, we didn't play it. We just did like some research on it, and I was also very, very intrigued. And I think that it's gotta be real, the monster, but she's so creative and writes in her journal a lot. Like, it might be how she battles those demons, but of course you want to make it fun. You want to make it pretty. So I think it's literal and
that's the way I kind of take it too, like conquering your own demons.
Yeah.
In a way. Yeah.
what it seemed like to me when I read. It's easy to sympathize with her situation as someone who also did finish college and having to go back to this parents' house and all that kind of stuff. But yeah,
Hung low.
I couldn't tell if it was figuratively or literally for the monster, or in the town. So, yeah.
So let's make a decision. If it's figurative, then I'm voting for Mae. If it's literal, I'm probably still voting for Mae. So
What if it's both?
I mean, I think it is literal, but like creatively.
I think it's figurative. Gotta wrestle them demons.
Yeah. I'm gonna go for Bender. Bender it's almost unfair for me because you get so much of Bender in that show. You see different scenarios he's in and what he does, and it's Fry most of the time, and it's hard to pull me away from that.
Yeah, I mean,
He's so mean.
And that's what makes him so great.
Yeah,
Right? He's a robot.
kill all humans, But he's so mean, but he's also so selfish with his friendship with Fry.
Exactly. You love to see it.
But like he's got redeeming qualities too. It's like when he throws Fry's dog into the lava. He's like,
Oh god.
but then he realizes he fucked up and he jumps into the lava to save him. He's made out.
He goes on tour with
ball.
Beck, though.
Yeah.
That's unforgivable.
Look,
Like,
that song doesn't normally last 4 hours, but we forgot how it ended somewhere along the way.
Mae's band is way cooler.
Yeah, but she plays bass.
Yeah, hell yeah, she does.
I like the thing.
do they have a washboard stomach and a microphone?
Yes.
No, no, they don't.
I want to say that Futurama has way more cameos than your game. No.
Did Mae bang the Crushinator?
She might have.
Dude, that's
Well, technically, Bender didn't. He said, "It's like,
You're
oh,
right,
please
yeah.
don't tell me it was the Crushinator, Bender." He's like that kind of lady you got a romance.
Oh.
You're right. You're right. So
Like,
he's a gentleman.
Jump, Crushinator! I can't. I love him. Oh, dang it, Crushinator!
I love that episode.
I love Futurama. It's
Yeah.
the main reason I pick Bender.
Yeah, sure. You could do the countdown, Fry. That's good. Well, Mae gets my vote because she just. I'm interested to check out Mae. I've seen all I need to see of Bender. Love him, but I want to see more of Mae.
I respect that.
Game Pass.
Ooh.
Bender
play.
for me.
Is it on Game Pass?
Yeah.
Interesting. Mae.
Mae.
There it is.
Boom. Tomas doesn't even have to break a tie.
Nope.
Oh.
I haven't had to yet. Feel so
You
relieved.
gotta get him out there, Tomas. I'm putting him out. I don't want to make those decisions on
I
the
know, it
on
sucks.
the hot seat.
I hate that kind of pressure. Why can't Georg or Craig decide?
Craig will leave if he has to decide.
Yeah.
Yes, he will.
Collapses under the pressure.
Oh, Mae Borowski over Bender bending Rodriguez. Next matchup, Tokushirou Tsurumi. I think I've said that
Yes,
one right
that's
at least
perfect.
once.
That is
Awesome.
actually dead on.
Versus
What he did.
Jolee Bindo.
No.
Tokushirou Tsurumi is from Golden Kumai.
Yeah, Golden Kamu? Yeah.
Kamu, yeah, sure. And Jolee Bindo is from Knights of the Old Republic. Say all of that 5 times fast. Ryan, this was your nomination. I'm not going to say his name again. So
Yeah, you said it perfectly. I just call him Tsurumi from here on out. So, in order to understand the character, you have to have a little context beginning. So, Golden Kamu is mainly it's basically a story about finding lost or hidden treasure, right? It's based in early 1900s. It's in Hokkaido. If you're not familiar with how Hokkaido is, it is that big ass. It's part of Japan. Now it's part of Japan, but back then, it was a conflict. So it takes place basically between the Japanese-Russo War, which basically the government of Japan was trying to centralize the government and the forces in Hokkaido to remain control of it. Hopefully everybody's following me so far. So there was, between that war, there was a shit ton of casualties. And there was this, by the way, this is all actual factual majority of it, but the story it takes place in here is mostly fictional, if that makes sense. So actual events that happened is just the story itself is
real history with like its own like little side kind of story.
Exactly. So Tsurumi is part of the 7th Division, and at the end of that war, there was a lot of casualties, and there's a lot of Japanese soldiers who felt like that the government completely forgot about them, and they're kind of just used as pawns. So in this, Tsurumi basically kind of he takes like a shrapnel to the head. This is before the start of the story even happens. So he has this porcelain like kind of band around the top of his head that leaks a little bit of like, you know, like fluid, I guess.
Juice.
Yeah, brain juice, cranial fluid, whatever you want to call it. So he's a bit fucked up in the head, but he was a spy for the government. So there's also that to keep in mind. So he's a master manipulator. In the end, he's basically wanting to take hold of the gold that there's this indigenous people called the Ainu. They're pretty much like Native Americans to Japan, to what they is America, and they have this hidden stash of gold. And whoever gets it, they can fund a new war. They can do whatever the fuck they want with it. His goal is to essentially get the gold, build up his army again, and rebel against the government. You know, big ambitions, right? Take control of Hokkaido, just to kind of keep it simple. So why I chose him is he's a very complex character that you don't see a lot coming, a lot of twists and turns. He's a master manipulator. He manipulates his own soldiers to the point where, you know, he manipulated one guy basically saying, you know, your wife died, blah, blah, blah. She didn't die. And then end up basically making it so, oh, she did live, but I wanted you to grow as a person, but she actually did die. You know, there's a lot of complexity in what he does. And sophistication, what he does with soldiers and what he does against the main protagonist is pretty badass. It's almost like you love to hate him, but you hate to love him. So it's that type of character. So I put up it like almost like Cersei Lannister level, but just way more intelligent. You know, and there's a lot of twists and turns in the show, which has 3 seasons right now that you don't see coming. And there's a couple spoilers I won't say that kind of blew my mind the last season. So that's a little background why I like it.
Nice.
Fun.
I did a little bit of a dive on him, and his like characterization, his design is really cool. Like
I like how he looks.
Yeah, the injury to his head and everything else. It's kind of real reminiscent of like war casualties of that time, you know, like people coming back from World War I, or you said the Russo-Japanese War. Like they did have weird like prosthetics and stuff like that, so it's almost like true to life in a sense.
Making it more fucked up in the story, one of the main plot points is like there's this big prison where there's one guy that knows where the gold is. And basically what they do is they try to torture him. Basically, he has no limbs. He has like nothing. He's all disfigured and shit. He can't really do anything. He ends up tattooing the actual treasure map on all the convicts. So basically, if the convicts leave, you have to skin the convicts to get the treasure map. You know what I mean? Or, you know, essentially, trace it or whatever. So it's real fucked up. So he ends up wearing a lot of these fucking skin treasure maps on his body, you know, because he's interested in something else and making duplicates and kind of
or as hell.
Yeah, playing other people, you know, giving fake false treasure maps to people. It's fantastic. Anyways, there's a little bit of the case. Yeah,
that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Jolee Bindo. I think that was an Aaron Josh kind of joint. It was an Aaron joint, but I think Josh also knew Jolee a little bit. He seemed to know who Jolee Bindo was, but I did a little bit. Me and Kayla both did a little dive on Jolee. If no one else will stand for our lightsaber man.
I like Jolee. Unfortunately, I didn't choose him. So
Gotcha. He's as I was doing the research on him, he's got so many parallels to Ahsoka Tano, who was on our list. I really feel like her character, because he seems to have come first in the mythology of Star Wars. It seems like she's probably based at least loosely on Jolee Bindo, and Ahsoka's amazing. So it's a really great backstory. I mean, if you don't know anything about Star Wars and the galaxy at that time, that Jolee lived, everything was very rigid in the Jedi Council. They all live by these rules, and everything else Jedi have to do, certain things and live by a certain code and everything else. It's all very like hardcore
Dumb.
religion essentially. And
Dumb.
Jolee always kind of sees it that way. Like it seems a little backwards, you got to bend the rules a little bit, in depending on the situation, if you're going to do the greater good. He wants to do what's best for the galaxy, for the people he cares about, and he wants to save everyone, and it comes about that he can't, and the rules are so rigid that he can't kind of do what he wants to do. So much so that his love, which Jedi are not supposed to have, but he does fall in love, and he's conflicted about it. His Jedi Order says one thing, his heart says another, and to make matters worse, his love goes to the dark side, and he has to eventually fight and kill her. And he feels immense guilt and pressure for this, and he essentially turns himself in to the Jedi Council and says, like, I need to be punished for this. I've broken not only the rule of falling in love and getting attached and everything else, but I killed this person as well in a fit of passion, rage, what have you. And the council decides that they're going to be okay with it. They're going to pardon him, essentially. And he just can't wrap his mind around that. He's lived his whole life that these rules are not to be broken. They're not to be bent. They're set in stone. And why has he lived his whole life following this code if the council can just make it up as they go along? He's not going to face any punishment whatsoever. So he decides to become a white Jedi, I believe is the term, where he essentially just kind of goes off. Gray Jedi, sorry. Gray Jedi. That's right. A gray Jedi. He goes off on his own. He's no longer beholden to the council, but he gets to kind of make his own code and be his own person, and
Still use the Force and fight with the lightsaber and just be his own person like that.
Yeah, and be a hero. He wants to be a hero. He wants to be good for people, and do what he feels is right, but without the. He does. In the story, it seems like he plays a big part in. You don't play as Jolee in the game, but you get to meet him, and he helps you along the quest. So in the story, so he does succeed in the sense that, but I think it takes some convincing to save the galaxy from him. He's kind of a reluctant hero in that sense, but a hero nonetheless.
Yeah, a lot of parallels with Ahsoka. Quite a bit. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I love Ahsoka's character, and just reading up on Jolee, I was like, oh, okay, so these are all pretty much the major plot points of Ahsoka's journey. Getting attached to. There's not really like a romantic relationship with Anakin, but it's similar. It's a very similar relationship. I think it's love. Yeah, a different type. So there's that. There's breaking with the Jedi Council, going on her own, being a reluctant hero. All of the above. It's kind of they're very similar characters in that sense. So I definitely dig Jolee a lot. But Tokushirou Tsurumi, I'm gonna do it again. He's just got a cool design, and I think everything from the skin maps to even just like the time period and everything's cool. You don't see too much like World War I era stuff, popular media. I think it's a cool time period, and especially in like I'm not the biggest anime guy, but
So what's
I'm
up?
going Bindo because I'm not not that I hate evil manipulative people, but I enjoy the Ahsoka character much more obviously.
Yeah, it's a straight hero versus villain in this thing. Like, Jolee just seems
Yeah.
like a hero, and Tsurumi is
Nice,
straight
Yeah.
bad guy.
Knights of the Old Republic is like something that I do really, really want to play but never have. I've read several Revan Star Wars books, which I know he has connections to. So I
I'm
would
gonna
be
go
into
with
that.
Sounds good.
That is what I
and
want to see.
I like characters like that. I like characters that like make you really fucking uncomfortable and like make you guess like what they're gonna do next. And it's like I'm watching Game of Thrones right now, and like that's like
Right
everybody.
now.
It's like so, everybody's playing the game, bro. So- Mike.
I like Ryan's argument a lot. The character in the show sound really cool. So that's my vote.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm going as well. Also with the added fact that like Ahsoka did make it past round 1, and
Yeah,
it seems like a
nice.
lot to have 2 characters make it to round 2 that are so similar, like so similar. So
Fair.
all right, so Tokushirou Tsurumi, round 2.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Next one. This is a lot. This is
a rough bracket.
It really is. These
Yeah.
are just back to back to back.
Oh, God.
So we have the boss from Metal Gear Solid 3 versus Arthur Morgan from Red Dead Redemption 2.
Who chose who?
I
So I've
chose
kind-
the boss.
The boss? All right. Who
Picked
chose?
Arthur. And
Picked
Mike
Arthur?
Arthur
Yeah, both.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arthur
He's
was a
locked
double up.
in.
Man, yeah.
Ooh, Mike, how dare you betray me?
Sorry, man.
Are you willing to die for your country, Mike?
I'm willing to die for Arthur.
No.
Oh no!
Arthur die for the gang, that's for sure.
Oh man.
All right.
I'm the boss. Where do I start? Metal
Where did you start?
Metal Gear series doesn't exist without her. Need I say more? No, she's just such a great character. Like, and even like if you dig deeper into her like character, she was part of like the Cobra division. Like I guess one of the first like CIA groups of like I guess secret soldiers and shit. They were like a huge part of like why we won World War II, and like a lot of her character is very tragic. She has to kill like, were they married, the Sorrow and her, or I know they had a kid together. That was
Ocelot. Yeah.
Ocelot, yeah. But yeah, and she goes through a lot of shit. Like her whole entire like life is just like tragic, up to the point where like she pretty much trains. I'm drawing a blank. Big Boss. Well, he's not Big Boss at the time. He's Naked Snake. Pretty much to kill her and take over her position. But the idea is that like, in order to stop all-out nuclear warfare between Russia and the United States, she pretty much sacrifices herself for her country. It's like, but like. The fight in the flower field at the end, she's so integral to the entire like story of Metal Gear Solid 2, because like everything forward from that point is like everybody trying to interpret her philosophy on how they should move forward, and whether they're getting it right or wrong, whether it be Zero or whether it be it'd be Big Boss or any other of the litany of characters trying to fulfill her legacy. Like, she's just so pivotal to that whole entire series, and she's just a badass character too. It's, we talk a lot about like these strong female characters and all these forms of media that we're talking about, and like I remember playing that game and just being blown away. It was such an excellent experience. The story of that game's incredible. Just kind of throw in like Orion Point. It's based off of like loosely, real history, with such a Kojima flair to it. I love shit like that too. It's like, every once in a while, like Kojima fucking hits the nail on the head too with some of his shit with like Metal Gear Solid 2. But I don't know. I love the series. I love the boss. I'm sure I could say more, but I'm sure you guys got a hell of an argument for your excellent character as well. God damn it.
Do you think she let him win at the end?
No.
Hmm.
I think the passing of the baton had to be legitimate.
I agree with Tomas because she never wavers in her values and her principles, and she has a son ripped away from her literally, and then has to, she gets that back again with Snake, like another prodigy, a son basically, and leaves him for dead in a fucking river, and then like did not pull any punches really.
And she tells him all this too. It's like even like in the virtuous mission, like she's like hinting that like, it's like, are you really a soldier? It's like, given like what your like superiors tell you to do, are you still gonna follow through orders? Despite like the fact that he has to go up against this person that he has like on this pedestal, and like this whole entire world gets smashed by her, and like she just keeps going and going and going, like to the point where like she sacrifices the whole Cobra unit. Not necessarily, but like that's part of like him becoming this legendary mercenary. Like I said, I could talk about this fucking game forever. Then I just had like the greatest.
Say this person's name again for me.
The boss.
The boss.
The boss.
Bruce Springsteen.
All right. I'm a hijack this real quick because really my only Metal Gear knowledge comes from discussions that I hear you guys have, or T-shirts that I see at C2E2.
That's an excellent.
And I don't remember this person at all. I never knew there was a the boss lady character. I know about Ocelot. I got a whole list here about people Eric told me about because we were going to do a draft. And this is Metal Gear Solid, I understand, which is the first one. Maybe this person didn't happen yet, but it ain't in my knowledge, so I don't see how it's so important. I'm a little. You guys are talking. I pulled out my notes and everything. Like, damn, did Eric tell me about this character? Like, what?
Metal Gear Solid 3 is a prequel. It's it deals with Big Boss.
Okay.
It's
okay.
pre-Solid
Got Big
Snake.
Boss, Solid Snake, Liquid Snake, Psycho Mantis.
Snake isn't even cloned yet. So it's all the build up.
I got
those characters.
Johnny Sasaki in here.
Oh,
he's in every single one. So he gave you all the important information.
It does say small character next to it, just so you know. But
did he tell you about like how there's always bathroom humor in every single game, even like the first one?
No, I don't think so. I didn't write that one down.
Kojima's a bit of a weirdo, but
oh boy.
But Arthur Morgan.
Arthur Morgan, voiced by Roger Clark. He is a cowboy, and he is a cowboy on the verge of the end of the cowboy era. Young age, he was taken in by a gang of criminals and raised. Dutch's gang, and is brought up to be like them, And as you're playing the game, you get to see Arthur's start to think, man, what if Dutch doesn't have all these answers? What if, there's more to life than just robbing and stealing, and more than just the gang, the family. And Red Dead 2 is not a fun game to play. It is the opposite of a fun game to play. It's a long game. But the
Got a
character
lot to do.
and the story of Arthur are what kept me going through that, and which still makes me consider Red Dead like a top level type of game. And his story throughout is just it's a lot of games are considered it's like a movie, Metal Gears and Last of Us and stuff, but Arthur's story, man, is better than any like Unforgiven or Good, Bad, and the Ugly, any kind of Western you could think of. And he's the most human character in a game that I've experienced. You get to see him go through a love story, lose loved ones, do questionable things, and then have to pay for them later, and really dastardly stuff that he doesn't want to do in the moment, and then is able to pay a penance for later. And up until the final moments, it's just a sight to see.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Part of the interesting thing, though, with Arthur is a lot of his situations or characters are based on your choices at times. Like, you can be like a complete total outlaw dick, or you can be real humble, if you will, or nice. And it is hard to make those choices as you're playing, because you're like, you want to be a good person at times, or sometimes you gotta just beat that person for money because Dutch needs it. And
Dutch better have his money.
like Mike said, you really get to see him go through life, and he's a pretty solemn, independent person. He's got his nice little tent. He lives in olden cowboy times where bounty hunters are after them, and you have to be kind of tricky and manipulative, and sometimes you go out guns a-blazing to save your boy, and you see him deal with a lot of things that Mike brought up, but betrayal is definitely one that he deals with.
Yeah, it's definitely a central theme. His betrayal of Dutch, in a sense, and Dutch's betrayal of him. I mean, that's the central kind of relationship of that game, and they both feel as though the other. Yeah,
the things he says to himself are just hilarious. The interactions he has with other people are phenomenal.
Journal.
It is true. Yeah, the journal's real fun. Every interaction you have with Arthur is just, you wanna be there.
Yeah, both of these characters now. Eric mentioned the stuff with Dutch, like, they have to make a choice. Like, they have to, pick who, if they're going to stick with, the person that brought them to this far in this journey, or go the other way and
wrong.
Yeah, it's interesting how both mirror that in a way. That's happened a few times in this bracket. Like,
yeah,
with
this is definitely like
this is tough.
The tougher bracket. Yeah, this corner is fucking Rust Cole bracket, guys. Fucking come out swinging.
Rest in peace.
The boss is great too. I mean, and that even just that final scene and her final decision and how it kind of all gets laid out and explained so well. The Metal Gear games have such ridiculously twisted stories and everything else, and there's even more revelations like that happen with like a triple agent and stuff after the fight and everything. But you can almost just like, all right, that goes off in its own Kojima corner, but like the whole setup and the whole decision and everything with the boss, and then the final fight, and all of the setup in leading up to that, is some of the best writing in all those 5 games. Honestly, it's kind of the most like writing that makes sense in a very nonsensical world.
3 is the one that can stand on its own.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
I
don't
agree.
have to play through any of the others from start to finish. It's its own kind of thing. And
Best
If they were to make a movie, I would want them to make a movie out of that.
Yes.
Robin
It's the
Wright
best one.
would be a great boss, I think.
Oh my god, it'd be amazing.
But just the, she knows she's going to go down as the
A
most heinous
traitor.
war criminal traitor of all time, and no one is going to know that she actually is the opposite of that, and the sacrifices that
She's
she
a
made.
hero. She saved
Yeah.
the world.
Right, and
I give my life, not for honor, but for you, Mike.
Oh boy. Okay, well let's
Good.
call it.
Gotta make some decisions, guys.
You guys got me on.
There.
I think it's on Eric.
the
I
boss.
think it's Eric's decision.
Oh, is it? Oh boy.
Well, they picked the other guy, so unless I swayed Mike enough.
Yeah,
I have to vote for Arthur. I
I understand.
he's-
In a different universe, we're on the opposite side of this table. So
I think Arthur is a one of one. I think he's, even though there's been other Red Dead games, and he's different enough from John Marston in that original Red Dead, and his own person, his own outlaw, where I can't turn my back on him. He's fantastic. Boss too, but
The boss situation is so tragically beautiful. I cannot
I know.
not vote for Big Boss. Not Big Boss, Boss. Oh man.
yeah. I'm gonna go Arthur Morgan on this
God damn
one. He's thank you for that honor. But I love these characters both. To me, I think comes down to Arthur is my favorite part of just Red Dead lore from now on. And in the grand scheme of Metal Gear lore, I forgot to tell Kayla about the boss. When I was going through all of the characters. So that says something. No, I was telling her all the Metal Gear Solid characters.
Right,
so
right.
it's not my fault, but
But I've also been around many conversations. I've seen many T-shirts. Just never come up.
the boss is great. But
Really needed Josh on this one.
all right. Arthur Morgan over the boss. May she rest in peace, the hero she is.
Yeah. I was really hoping that she would go up against Big Boss on somewhere on this bracket. But gotta move on, man.
All right. 2 more matchups here. Getting to the nitty-gritty here. We have Anakin Skywalker from Star Wars, and we have Kratos from God of War. 2 very angry characters. Anakin was yours, Kayla.
Yes, no, Anakin was Ryan's.
Oh my god.
Kratos was mine. Kratos was my
I always
lightning
assume, when I see Anakin, I see...
I picked Ahsoka. I picked Ahsoka over Anakin.
My apologies, Ryan. The floor is yours.
He knows my deep love.
I mean, there's not much for me to say about Anakin. Everybody knows this fucking story.
yeah, we do.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Didn't have the high ground, bro.
Nice family tale.
Oh yeah.
About redemption and bringing balance, and do they really bring balance in the end? And the character from a small boy to a old crusty man who's got many regrets and maybe does the right decision in the end.
The chosen one.
He's the chosen one. There's so much that I don't need to say you already know. So I'm gonna leave it kind of blank and dry here. Make this a quick one for me. No, yeah, Anakin's great, man. Despite what people say about the prequels, I enjoyed episode 2 and episode 3 quite a bit for the most part.
Very much myself.
Very much so. Yeah, Revenge of the Sith is great. Attack of the Clones, maybe not as great, but equally as entertaining. And number 1, I don't like number 1 really at all. But that's
Like
just
pod racing, bro.
that was best video game they ever came out with. Probably that, but yeah, Anakin Skywalker. There we go.
Like Ryan said, he's the chosen one. He's like built up, but he's built up and so important. And then the fucking, it's not the Citadel because that's Mass Effect, but whatever, the Jedi Order. It's just dumb. God, I hate it, and he has to deal with that. And whereas Ahsoka and Jolee had the opportunity to just back out, they were forced with the decision to make choices where they could have leaned the way where Anakin did. And for me, I don't control my emotions very well, so I do identify with Anakin in many ways like that. I would rage out. I would be angry. I would try to do anything to save the person I loved, even if it meant to be on the dark side and to learn dark magic. Absolutely, I would do that.
You heard it first, Eric.
There's so much to, I mean, you got these movies and you got the Clone Wars. If you guys ever watch that show at all, but there's a lot of personality. And so
yeah,
a lot to be left unsaid.
So Kayla willing to commit genocide for Eric.
Score.
But Kratos was my lightning round pick. He didn't make my original pick, my original list. Kratos is a new character to me. I've only played the recent gen God of War. I'm fully into it. So I don't have Kratos when he was a harsh, angry, one-sided, one-mind person. I only have him as this like old soul who's dealing with what he has done in the past. He has this loss of the woman he loved and this child that they had together, and he's dealing with trying to become a father and trying not to be cold and harsh and the god of war, but to be a teacher, to be a counselor. He's just really trying to do the right things, but he's this stone cold, hard god of war who's killed many, many people and gods and fathers and such. And Kratos is just also an ultimate badass. He's got all these very, very interesting and fun to play weapons, and I love when a game does the Metroidvania thing where like you pass it, but it's this, you're there, but you can't get to it until you have this certain weapon to come back and do. I enjoy those things. Exactly. So that's a lot of fun for me in video game worlds, and I love his relationship that he has with his son Atreus, right?
Yeah.
He's funny when he talks to the dwarves, and he's protective and untrusting, but learns to trust, and it's nice.
He's similar to Anakin. They've both committed terrible things, awful things. Lost loved ones. Kratos lost, the love of his life twice. But Kratos gets to pay it back. He gets a chance to pay for his sins. And Anakin is just a punk bitch throughout all those movies.
He's a young punk bitch. He is.
he
Yes.
all of the decisions he makes are so petty, and like he gets manipulated by a guy who's
He does.
obviously a fucking bad guy. And like
unlimited
don't-
power.
don't get it. Like we get to see him as like this techie pod racing kid who's got this unbelievable potential. When we get another movie where he doesn't do anything except try to make Natalie Portman fall in love with him, and then he lets the old guy like talk him out of being a good person, and he just like that. Like I don't understand. It is not a well-written character at all.
See-
If only you knew the powers that dark side might do.
They do
And
that a
they-
lot with Star Wars.
They do.
Here's where I'm going to push back on that.
Ooh.
I think
Back up.
I think the Hayden Christensen kind of poor dialogue and stuff like that, the bad script in those movies,
Yeah.
has a long shadow. You need to take it, or at least I shouldn't say you need, but like I take it. I look at the major events that created Darth Vader, that created Anakin as a person. He grew up as a slave. Okay, so that's the first thing. We learn that he's a slave child. He is freed from slavery, but oh hey, you don't get to take your mom with you. You have to go with these creepy old men to be indoctrinated
In
into this
robes.
Jedi order.
Religion.
And that's the only way you're going to make anything of yourself, Anakin. Okay, I'm 10 or whatever. I'm going to just make that life-altering decision. I'll probably
be a
see my mom
Jedi.
again. And I do see my mom again after she was brutally tortured by sand people. And that's the last time I see my mom as she's dying. And I'm told that
As
I'm
you're
just gifted.
tortured with nightmares of this happening.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. You know, all visions, seeing all these visions, tortured by different visions of his mother dying, of his love, Padme dying, and everything comes true. And he's just searching for anything to not make this stuff happen. He can see the future in a sense, and he wants desperately to not have these things happen. And they just do, because like it's whatever, he can't control it or whatever the case may be. So he's just an immensely tragic character. It's unfortunate that like that didn't come off. You have to like read between the lines essentially. You can't go off of the poor dialogue. You have to go of like, oh, what actually happened? Like, oh, he saw his mother die. Oh, he was a slave. Oh, he like was indoctrinated by this religious order. Oh, he's always pushed off of like, he's told he's this great person, but then everyone does their best to like,
They refuse to make him master, even though he's
Oh
got
no, the
his feelings,
15-year-old
too.
boy isn't a master yet. Like it's
too
so
much emotional baggage.
silly. Like
Come on, man.
He-
You can't
then
even.
don't bring him to meetings.
he
Then
needs to
don't.
get through Jedi school, and then he's like the man, and he can't do it.
Yeah, but there
Like,
ain't
I
other
don't
Padawans in there doing that. The other Padawans aren't treated like that.
Look, life is hard. Doesn't give you
Life
a
is
right to
hard.
commit genocide. Like I don't know, man. Like I get it. He went through some shit, and but like I'm kind of with Mike on this, man. It's like I think like most people would have like shouldered it a little bit better and like made better choices in the long run. And I mean, I get.
I
there's
don't
gotta
see
be a step there.
tragedy. I just see stupidity.
Exactly.
It's a tragic.
Tragically stupid. Don't get me wrong. Like I love Darth
No.
Vader. I feel like him as a character is better represented in other mediums other than the movie franchise.
That's fair to say.
But like just as per the terms that we've agreed on this, we had to pick a medium for the character, and sadly there was a prequel trilogy for this series. And like, and not even that, like, the story is still told, of like a tragic character and like how it like leads from point A to point B. I just don't feel like the ends really justify the means for that character. But I don't know. He's not even like my favorite character in the Star Wars series. So,
Kratos has the same amount of tragedy and the same poor decisions. He's his family is murdered. He's got to kill the god of war, and then now the gods tricked me, so I got to kill the rest of the gods.
What does he do? Some killing.
He kills fucking Zeus, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Kills everybody, bro.
And doesn't he like turn the whole world like into a shit show because of that? Like, doesn't like the world get plunged into darkness?
Yeah, they're both characters that's like kill first, ask questions later. But who are you gonna ask questions to once everybody's dead?
Anakin's been asking questions. He been begging for answers.
Well,
Right, but
He finally just fucking made them.
they both make terrible decisions in the name of vengeance or love or whatever. But Kratos is able to turn that around. Vader or Anakin or whatever, to me, never really does that. He goes on years and years being Darth Vader and following this guy that's tricked him. For what?
That's fair.
Like,
Killed 2 Death Stars.
Damn, we getting sweaty in here, guys.
Like-
Fucking
Kills all the
Dripping.
contractors on multiple Death Stars. Blows up a planet.
I think Vader gets very little explanation in screen time. I think that
Yeah,
it's hard to even build a character on Darth Vader other than, oh, he's this dude who breathes into masks and can force choke you. That's pretty much all you get about Vader.
it's a mess of a character that you're introduced to as, way into the future, and then 40 years later, we're going to try to turn him into a tragic hero. And if the creator of this, George Lucas couldn't tell it right, but someone else has to step in and create a whole nother show in order to fix this character.
It's
Which is
sloppy.
great. It's fine. If Anakin is is good in other stuff, that
No, that's not what I mean, that's not what my argument is. He is really cool in the Clone Wars and stuff, and he is reframed as more of a hero in that. But no, I think he's a tragic villain in the 6 Star Wars movies, the prequels and the original 3, and he kills the Emperor. Like he saves the day in the end. Yeah, he makes continually bad decisions, but like, if we're comparing him to Kratos in this match, like Kratos did shit for like hundreds of years, right? Like he was waging war. So like Darth Vader had 20 years of bad decisions. Kratos had like whatever decade, like way longer, let's just say, of the same type of like world changing bad decisions based on.
Still got decisions to be made.
Yeah, Kratos has more of a tail, like, and that's it. I'm fine with saying like Kratos is still has potentially a very long runway to like save the world, potentially. Where Anakin's gone. Spoilers. So
What?
I'm cool with that. But
no,
Vader kills an emperor, but then another one raises up, and it's not like it's. I don't know. Star Wars is silly, but that's just.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Fully involved.
Okay.
But my vote is for Kratos.
Kratos.
what is Mike?
I'm Anakin.
Anakin? All right. Well,
Don't
2 versus 3 there.
Did Mike?
Guessing Mike's Kratos, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I thought I convinced you. Damn.
Arrogant convinced
I'd
you?
have
I was
picked
waiting.
An-
I was waiting.
Anakin, you'll
I
vote.
think this doorknob
Anakin.
right here over.
Damn, bro.
All
Such
right.
savage.
You have no business on this list.
All right, God of War.
I
All
tried
right,
to
hold
keep him
on.
off of
Yeah.
the 64. There should have been someone else who had a spot. But he got his,
I love
his
Anakin,
name
but
on the bracket. He should be happy about that.
I picked Ahsoka for Anakin, so I had to, make my decision there. And I don't want to see any more Skywalker shit. I do want to see more Kratos. So that's how I made my decision.
Good choice.
All
right.
right. Well, Mike's doorknob over Anakin to round 2. Now, Kratos, the god of war, defeats Anakin to go into round 2 to face one of either
Oh boy.
George Costanza from
Yes.
Seinfeld
Holy shit, dude.
or Peter
Costanza.
Parker from the MCU. So
Match the century.
this
Who
is
picked
you
Peter?
know, as with our stipulation, this is the Peter Parker played by Tom Holland in the MCU. Not all of the other depictions of Peter Parker. So just so that's out there, and this is the George Costanza played by Jason Alexander. So everyone,
Before we start this sweaty debate,
So sweaty.
what does George Costanza and Tom Holland Peter Parker have in common? One thing links them. 100 bezo bucks if anyone gets it.
oh boy,
New York
MCU.
City.
yeah, they're both from New York.
Yeah.
Probably go to the
A
same
personal-
bodega.
Let's say a person. Let's say a person they have in common.
Huh.
Elaine.
Julie Louis-Dreyfus. Yeah.
Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, Marissa
you're
Tomei.
right,
Yeah.
There you go.
Forgot about
Oh,
Tomei.
And May herself.
That's there.
Good.
George
George's Uncle Ben.
and May. Oh, dude, in a full circle. Here we go. I love it. George, Uncle Ben. All right, love it.
Oh.
George
Oh my
wins.
god, that would be nuts.
Okay, who picked Peter Parker?
He was
Who
a
was
throw-in. He was an extra. Yeah, it was Josh
throw-in?
in the lightning round. Yeah, Josh was
Okay.
a lightning round for Peter Parker.
Like,
You almost got rid of him too.
oh well,
He
yeah,
tried.
he almost axed all three.
I want
of
Peter
the-
Parker in there.
I'm just gonna say right now, there's no argument that I'm gonna get for Peter Parker that's gonna make me not pick George Costanza.
Those things happen.
I just think we've seen so many Peter Parkers, and he's such a great character. He's such a cool character. Spider-Man has really cool powers, and his characterization of just a teenage high schooler who doesn't have the privilege of a lot of the superheroes who are just kind of in a bubble. He has to deal with teenager shit.
Answering to his aunt about where he's been.
Yeah, just all of that. And he's got the tragic backstory, yeah, Uncle Ben and all that. All the superheroes do, but he's just so much fun because he's a teenager and because he has to deal with, and they do it so well, at least in the first movie, of like the villain is his girlfriend's dad, big plot twist, and
Great scene.
it's so good. And I think
Oh,
Tom
God.
Holland's version is kind of just definitive. He's the only one who's actually a teenager.
Actually a teenager,
Yeah, and
He's
and
not 30.
and he doesn't have to act. He's got that I mean, he's a good actor, but I mean, he doesn't have to act like Peter Parker. I think he just is he's become, in the same way that Robert Downey Jr. has become Iron Man. I feel
is.
that Tom Holland has become Spider-Man. He's just that precocious, fun-loving kid. And that's just who Tom Holland is. If you watch an interview or something, he's just Peter Parker, and
That's very much
He's
the
very Peter
character
Parker.
for Peter Parker, yeah. But
Yeah, I love Peter Parker character, but he doesn't play that character right now.
You're right. He's the definitive one. Yeah.
He's
he's the
George and Peter are a lot alike. They went through a lot of tragedy in their lives. Let me break it down for you. Hold on. The responsibility of managing the Yankees, it's got to be astronomical.
boo.
But he lost his fiance. All right, he lost someone he loved.
It's true.
He's got a
And he
dad
killed her,
that
so.
he's got a dad and mother that's really hard to do anything with. He's got two terrible friends who are not only narcissists themselves, but barely think of George. He's got a hard life. George Costanza.
I love George.
In George's words, there is no bigger loser than him. I have to agree. I sympathize with that.
He's the Lord of Idiots. George is just a pillar of sitcom comedy. He is the de facto sidekick or supporting character, whatever you want to label him. Quotes and lines from George have stuff I use every day. Like I have and
Serenity now.
Yeah, of course.
That's not even his line.
We
That's
live in
his
a summer of George. Just so many
worlds colliding.
right. And Jason Alexander, the character is based largely on Larry David's life, which is insane in its own right. But Jason Alexander just gives it the life and the just the crumminess that it needs, and the narcissistic nature, and the self-loathing, and the overconfidence when you shouldn't have it. It's all. He just brings a smile to my face when I'm just thinking about him. I don't know what that says about me, but
Seinfeld's just such a tour de force of a show in itself.
Oh, absolutely.
Should check it out.
I guess I should, because the little bits that I get from George are just kind of like, yeah, he's the Lord of Idiots. He's a big dummy.
He is.
He's very big.
He really is.
Kayla.
Yeah.
It's not a lie if you believe it.
I mean, this is the man who avoids the breakup, like, just so he can have a date, like, to a business dinner like thing.
Oh.
Does he like do good stuff, or is he just a big dum dum?
No, well, Seinfeld's a show
Scary?
about like the worst people, like
Yeah.
ever. Like they're all horrible people, but it's just
You love to see it.
Yeah.
Like, it's so
Certain time.
ridiculous.
Certain
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
He is not your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He is
He's
the opposite.
Kramer's probably really, honestly, the best person out of the.
No, but Kramer's like completely selfish and oblivious to
Yeah.
everybody else's like needs around him. He's
It's true.
just
It's
as
true.
bad
Yes.
as the rest of them.
Yes.
It's classic hero versus villain right here.
Absolutely. Peter Parker is fighting George Costanza on the streets of New York.
Man, I knew this was going to be tough sledding for poor Peter Parker. This is a
Can't
tough
stand ya.
matchup for him. I know that George has a lot of supporters out there. I would make one plea to the fact that, and I've made this argument on other characters, but I think George works as a part of a great ensemble cast. So does Peter Parker in some senses, but I think he can carry the movies where he's alone as well. And I want to see him continue to carry that Spider-Man character. I would watch just, Spider-Man doing whatever he's got to do without any of the other Avengers. I don't know that I'd watch the George show.
Well, there's been 10, 11 seasons of a George show with Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's basically a George show, and it's still like it's that character, but Larry David
actually plays himself.
And there's moments it's like I love just George going into Steinbrenner's office and all this silly shit that he does. Like I don't think he needs Jerry or Elaine or Kramer at all. I think
I think George is a communist.
Yeah.
I think I would enjoy Seinfeld, but
It's so good.
you gotta dive. You gotta put both. You gotta be in it. You gotta put both feet in it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm in it.
Oh baby.
I live it
I swear
every day.
Every day.
I've
Purify
dipped my
my-
toe, and I ain't jumping in.
I mean, the candy bar lineup.
As much as I love Peter Parker, I don't love Tom Holland's Peter Parker as much as
Oh wow.
maybe
Them-
the other Peter Parkers.
That's impressive.
I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. One of the few Marvel actual comics we're not talking about the comic, I'm just saying is generally comparing the Peter Parkers. I think I related the most out of Stan's Peter Parker the most. There's a lot of tragedy in those stories he writes, and the most human. And it feels like kind of like a Batman situation with Peter Parker. That you just get more of Peter, and you kind of
He's still very much like a regular day-to-day person, like
yeah, very normal, right?
In the Marvel
Exactly.
like universe.
He has all this power, but he's still fucking dirt poor, trying to live it in New York. It's
just a guy trying to do the right thing. It's the Uncle Ben adage. With great power comes great responsibility, and it's portrayed very well. But it to me it can't hold up against Costanza. And I agree with your guys' arguments for him, especially the Tom Holland one. The fact that they finally got a teenager to play a teenage Peter Parker. Not that I didn't enjoy the other like interpretations, but like Seinfeld is just this thing, and like George is like he stands out, man. Like I love his character so much. There's a reason I picked George to be the president of the United States when we were doing those random questions. George is my favorite character in Seinfeld.
He's a great Spider-Man for me, but I think he's yet to be a fantastic Peter Parker for me yet. But that's just my opinion.
Gotcha.
I think he has been a fantastic Peter Parker. I love his relationship with Tony.
Mm-hmm.
His friend Ned, that's just a fun little bit.
I think the characters around him make him a better Peter Parker than he actually is. But that's just me.
Scenes by himself where he's like just with the AI trying to follow the magic stuff, the space stuff. He's all by himself, or when he like goes out and just like sweats, like I gotta save the day, I gotta stop them, but he's like just this fucking teenager in sweats and like not even safety goggles, like dollar store costume goggles.
It's real, it's like the idea that like if you were suddenly bestowed with these powers as a kid, how would you go about handling it? Without any guidance or any like nobody wrote fucking like playbook on that. So
he's just like so innocent and adorable. He's like making those videos with Happy when he's like doing the internship or whatever. And it's just so funny. It just makes you laugh. He has fun quips all the time, and that's the thing of Spider-Man, and he does it very well.
Absolutely. Like I'm not trying to take anything away from your guys' arguments. Like, yeah, you're 100% right. I love Peter Parker. I love Spider-Man.
It's hard when they go up.
Yeah, like this bracket has just been fucking blow for blow. Like I think it's probably the most evenly matched we've had so far. But I gotta go with Costanza.
I gotta go with my boy Georgie.
Georgie Porgy, baby.
Parker.
Summer of George.
Summer of George?
Oh, it's always Summer of George. Yeah. Come on now.
George Costanza over Peter Parker. Man, that's a monumental battle right there. They came down to blows, and
this was almost the George Costanza bracket. I wanted him to be a 1 seed. Like
I voted for him to be a 1 seed, but Rust got it. Deservingly. Maybe they'll play in the semifinals or something. We'll see.
Maybe.
Oh God!
George's neuroses took down Peter Parker.
Yes.
You love to see it.
Can you give me a rundown on who has moved forward?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna do that. So Rust, Cohle beat Kirby. Ellen Ripley beat Urdnot Wrex. Mare Sheehan beat Jules Winfield. Mae Borowski beat Bending Rodriguez. Tokushirou Tsurumi beat Jolee Bindo. Arthur Morgan defeated the boss. Kratos raged all over Anakin Skywalker, and George Costanza lucked out and beat
please.
Peter Parker.
George,
No,
George
George-
doesn't need luck. He has no luck.
If I lost the boss and Costanza in the same podcast, no, I'm quitting.
I think Costanza's got staying power. I think he's got
Absolutely.
staying power.
I'm calling it right now. Costanza's winning this thing.
They will join 24 other contestants in round 2, which will be the next Bracket of Nonsense episode. We are down to 32. We started with 64. Man, that was fun. Round 1 is done. 32 left. Half are gone. Next time, we're going to get it down even further. Is there going to be some Ryan calls them sweaty moments, I think? There are going to be some sweaty moments.
I'm a sweaty boy.
Sweat lords unite.
Man, I'm so proud
Oh,
of us.
God.
Though. Anakin's gone. We're the balance has been brought.
Oh my god.
No matter what happened in this thing, all is well. All right.
As long as you have me in your life, you have Anakin in your life. Just so you know that.
But not in the bracket. You know, not in the bracket.
Yeah, like on the record,
Fair enough.
Kayla will commit genocide for Eric's behalf. So
Oh, so on that note, folks, round 1 of the Bracket of Nonsense is done. Thank you so much for listening. We'll get to round 2 real quick. As always, please check us out on social media, subscribe to the pod, leave us a review, leave us a comment or a question or a poll on Monstars, our Facebook group. We'd love to hear from you. Or we'd love to hear your voice on anchor.fm/machine of nonsense. You can leave us a voice message and I'll put it on this pod. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for Mike, Ryan, Tomas, and Kayla for being here. I'm your host, Eric. We're wrapping up and we're saying goodbye.
I hate sand.
Bye.
Good night.